This episode of the Fiction Writers Podcast is brought to you by the novel Notebook. With each character and each setting, hundreds of details must be compiled and organized. Far too many for a writer, like you, to keep them cataloged in your brain. The novel Notebook provides the answer. Visit www.fictionwriterspodcast.com/novel and quickly discover how to organize your materials and take your novel to the next level. Welcome to the Fiction Writers Podcast with Lana McAra, where you will discover tips, tricks, and ideas for fiction that is #unputdownable. Here you'll find new energy, new perspectives, new resources, and new ideas that will spark your creativity into a blaze of brilliance. It's easier than you think. Be sure you visit our website at www.fictionwriterspodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, get out your notebook, tune in, and let's get started.
We see them all the time. There are 55,000 electrical substations in the United States, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. My name is Lana McAra, and welcome to the Fiction Writers Podcast. Tips, tricks, and ideas that for fiction that is #unputdownable. I was at a Sisters in Crime meeting recently, and the guest speaker was an expert on electrical substations. Have you ever thought about electrical substations? I hadn't. I don't think I'd ever really thought about them, except for one thing. I didn't want to live near one. I knew that. But as far as using them in a story, I had no idea. I didn't really know much about them. And so this information was very interesting to me. Some of the things that she said was having my wheels turning, and I thought maybe someone would have an idea from this that you can use to springboard, because I don't know how I would ever use it. But maybe you do. Electrical substations are federally controlled, and it is a federal offense to try to get into one, to damage one. It's even a federal offense to fly a drone over one. Serious business. A federal offense. So when you're watching a movie and they're breaking into these places and jumping over fences and stuff, don't try that at home. It could be seriously bad for you. And not only just getting arrested, but inside there is so much electrical current that you could die just by walking past some of those metal fixtures. People who go in there have to know what they're doing, and they have to be able to control the electric in there and so forth. So if you just go in and start bumbling around, you're probably going to end up dead. There's just too much power, too much current going through those wires and circuits and all these different bits and parts that we don't even know about. There are codes at every different level. So a code to get in the fence on the outside, a code for the door. And some places needs 2 people to open them. One person could not get in there alone. And if you're going to try and break it down, just be prepared. The police are going to be on you before you get to the second hit. I mean, they are direct dialed into that. Another interesting fact is that these substations are very rarely hit by any foreign terrorists. And I think she was in the state of Florida, because I'm in the state of Florida. She said one foreign terrorist ever attempted to mess around with an electrical substation, but they had hundreds of different domestic people messing around. And one of the funny things that I thought was humorous was the favorite way for someone to try to damage an electrical substation is to pull up in their pickup truck and shoot at it with a gun, a hunting rifle or something like that. Just try to shoot something out with a rifle. And she said a lot of times what it is a disgruntled customer who thinks their bill's too high. So they go take a gun and shoot up the substation. Now what happens? A substation may have electric power going to 40,000 people. 40,000 people, maybe depending on this particular substation. And there are people in these homes dependent on the electric for their oxygen or whatever machinery, equipment, devices that they use. And people die when the electric goes out. So it's serious business when you are looking at an electrical substation. And so think about that when you're putting together some conflict, or maybe you have some character that's unstable. They could get their gun out and drive up to the substation and take pot shots and, all of that. So, run with it. Do your research and check into it and use it with my blessing. So there's a good idea for you. Thanks so much for stopping in to the Fiction Writers Podcast. My name is Lana McAra. See you next time.
Thank you for tuning into the Fiction Writers Podcast with Lana McAra, where we share tips, tricks, and ideas for fiction that is #unputdownable. Remember to visit our website at www.fictionwriterspodcast.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Fiction Writers Podcast.